Hey guys, this is Simon from Fateless. We are well underway with Alpha Wave 2. I thought I'd do a video actually just talking you through some like beginner guide stuff to how to play GODFORGE, some of the different systems we've got in play, probably take you up to that, I don't know, intermediate sort of level of gameplay in terms of doing builds, showing you how to make your hero stronger and all that type of stuff. There's honestly a ton of really cool content creators out there already. They're doing these kind of like in-depth guides of how to beat the Golden Guardian at, you know, stage 60 and 120, how to beat Fafnir, who are the best legendary heroes in the game, who are the best epics and why. So there's a whole bunch of that going on with different content creators. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a sense of how to progress in this game, even when we're in this alpha stage. Now we're in Alpha 2. We've got about 15,000 players playing regularly right now, testing the servers out, testing our ability to cope with some stress. And yeah, amongst all the bugs and stuff, I think we've actually had a lot of fun, which is really what we were looking for from the alpha, are people enjoying the game. So let's talk through the basics of what is open in the alpha as we get towards wave 3, which is going to be the competition wave. I'm going to talk about what you could win and all that type of stuff in a separate video for you guys. But wave 3 is going to be when it gets juicy, when people are going to be pushing the leaderboards to try and beat Fafnir up and win trips to Vegas, as well as be immortalized on a diorama and a bunch of other rewards and prizes, which we're lining up as well. Again, I'll talk about that separately. So you can see up here, top left, I've got my portrait. I've also got my level. This is actually the stage of the Caverns that I've hit so far. I've been trying to play the Caverns as if I was a mobile player. So playing like a couple of hours a day and then allowing myself to have like a 1 hour auto farm. That around those sort of numbers, just so I get a feel of, you know, how far can I progress in the time that we're allowing people, and you know, where should you be progressing and how do you do it? So I think stage 141 is pretty fine. I've seen some people just blast the whole Caverns in a day, which is absolutely insane, by the way. So yeah, on here we can just click in. I can do things like control my volumes, control graphic settings. I can change language, but that's a little bit wonky right now, and basically get my main settings. If I can't log in, I can do a password reset, all that type of stuff. We've also got the Wayland Smithy open. This is really, as you push a few levels up, you're able to empower weapons. So you can go into any of the weapons that you've earned. Let's see one where I've got some resources that I can actually show you pretty good. I have a decent amount anywhere. Okay, we'll show you here. So this Hecker is a weapon. It will tell me what the current ability for the weapon is. It will then show you on this gold star what you will gain as you rank it up. The blue and the pink are not in the game right now, not for alpha, but they will be for future. And as I refine the weapon, I gain my base stat, I gain my secondary stat, which is different for each weapon that you pick up. So this one's got resistance, but the same weapon here's got defense percent, the same weapon here's got HP. So sometimes you might be like looking for the right secondary stat to go with your hero. So you want to be bearing that in mind when you're looking to fully develop a weapon. I could take this one up here to stage 10 and refine it. You can see my primary and my secondary stats are both going up. And then I need to eat another copy of the weapon to be able to rank it up to the next stage. I don't have enough of the resource right now. And as I do that, then the implicit ability will start to grow in power as well. Okay, so refining and ranking up grows the sort of the basic ability of the weapon, and ranking up also increases your stats. The secondary element to weapons, which is really fun actually, is imprinting. So I can press this little toggle, press in here, and then I can put an imprint on my weapon. Now I did a farm recently. I actually picked up a ton of legendary imprints here. What's an imprint? It's the passive of a hero that I can embed onto a weapon. Okay, so some of them are incredibly strong. These same imprints can actually be used to awaken a hero as well. So don't just use them willy-nilly. Make sure that you're only using those ones where you don't want to try and awaken your hero to the next stage. And I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So if I wanted to take this weapon and put, say, Odin's passive onto the weapon, which for this one would, when damage is inflicted on an enemy by their ally, still 5% of the damaged enemy's turn meter. Okay, so it's like a turn meter steal, which again, you might just want to use on someone who's pushing turn meter, for example. So I could imprint that. I could imprint epics, to do myself like defensive capabilities, healing capabilities. What else? I could go in with someone like Dagonator that gives us like a chance to ally attack. There's so many different options for imprinting. Makes it really fun and like very customizable, because I can put this weapon on any of my heroes and suddenly they've got a new passive. So it makes for some really interesting and quite crazy combos. So the smithy there, we've got the Anvil of Creation. This is actually how this is where my imprint library is, but also how I create imprints. So if I got a hero that I just don't want, I could extract the imprint from that hero and basically turn it into the imprint to put onto a weapon. The other things active here for alpha is just battle into the caverns and my hero screen. So let's talk about enhancing heroes. Let's talk about giving them some power. Now, someone who I just picked up overnight is actually Shamash. Turns out he's giga crazy right now. He's like really, really powerful in this alpha. Also picked up Yi Dragoch, who is also really powerful, and an Isis. So I've really got some powerful heroes here. So for Shamash, let's take him up to max level. And you can see how quick and easy it is to do in our system. So I hit upgrade. The more resources you've got over the time of playing, the faster this will be, obviously. I've got my experience at the top here. In the alpha, if you farm stages that end in a 9, you will get more experience. You do not need to have one hero who is kind of like your carry and then a bunch of food heroes. Any overflow experience will just go into this blue vial, so you can literally use your most powerful teams to grind through levels. By design, we don't want you to feel like you've got to use weak, useless heroes in battle. We want you to use the stuff that you really enjoy using. So overflow experience will come into here, and then I can just pull the slider along and use my experience and gold to level someone up. Now, when it gets to leveling them up, you do need to feed them either spirits or other champions or heroes. So if I've got tons of spirits, I can literally hit autofill and it will fill all of them up for me. Okay, super easy to do. I can also, though, if I don't want to just use my spirits and I want to use, say, some heroes, so I've got a bunch of overflow heroes, I can tell it, no, don't use my spirits for a second. I want to pick heroes to select in those slots anyway. Now, the way we've done it in GODFORGE, we've said a common hero counts as like a 1-star spirit, an uncommon is a 2-star, a rare is a 3, an epic is a 4, and a legendary is a 5. Obviously, you don't want to feed all of your legendaries unless you are literally overflowing with them in the caverns. But it gives me like a one-click approach, and I can just literally hit promote, and now my Shamash has just been ranked up to 5-star. In the same screen, this is really important, and it's something we're going to change because it's a little bit too hidden, but you can also ascend your heroes in this screen. All of this UI is going to change for launch, but for alpha, we just needed a screen that does some work. 3-star ascension, you actually unlock a passive, and a lot of the passives are really strong. So you want to make sure that anyone you're using regularly, you unlock their passives. If you hit the details, it will tell you if there's anything else going on that's not normally for passives. And you can see I've got a bunch of materials here. If you farm any stage in the alpha caverns ending in a 5, you will get ascension materials. That's where we've put them. So I can literally go right the way up to 6-star here because I've just 6-starred him as a hero. And then I get a bunch of stats and I get my passive. So I can ascend him to max. On the same screen, I can go into my abilities. And again, you can farm the pages, the scrolls, and the tomes throughout the caverns. There's different levels as you go higher up where you're able to do this. So again, quite an easy way to do it. I can just pull the slider across and it will put the scrolls or the tomes into the skills. Obviously, I'm just going to go fully maxed here. If I just, so I can click on the skills and see what they do and see what improvements I'm going to get as I level up. But it is a random upgrade from the tome. So even if I click here, it doesn't mean they're all going to go here. It's going to go into random skills. I will fully max him now, so I'm going to be using him for my Fafnir push, and he's an absolute beast. So you can see that for my tomes, I gain damage here. I gain some damage plus improve the chance to land my ability. And I got a reduced cooldown. And then for the ultimate ability, I've basically already had a revive, turn meter with turn meter and HP. And then I got some nice buffs to go on my allies. And then we got a big fat barrier going off, which currently is a little bit busted in terms of it's just super strong. You can see as I put tomes in, I actually reduced the divinity cost of my ultimate. And I'll talk about that in a second, as well as just kind of improving the ability. Okay, so Shamash has suddenly become all powerful with a 6-star ascension, as well as fully maxed in stats. If we just go into abilities here, if I click on any ability and hit details, it will tell me what multiplier does damage. Okay, so for Shamash here, it's purely attack percent. It will tell me if I've got any sort of ability to land, what that ability is if I click on it. So Aether Burn here increases chance for a weak hit and reduces the divinity on all heroes on the team. This is like a debuff that goes on the enemy. And again, here I can hit details. It'll tell me what do the buffs that I'm putting on my team actually do. So Radiance reduces and reflects 20% of the damage received. And then attack up, obviously just boosts my attack. And there's generally level 1, 2, and 3 of these different abilities. And then obviously the passive we already looked at. So that's like the core to leveling up the hero. I can also awaken the hero. So if I have either an imprint of the hero or a duplicate copy of the hero, I can awaken them. So I can click on the plus here. You can see that I've got one imprint, which currently I could put on a weapon, or I can just awaken Shamash to an extra level. I can see what it's going to do. So in this instance, just to get level 1 awakening, Shamash actually doesn't need accuracy anymore, which is kind of crazy for a level 1 awakening. But yeah, one copy of Shamash or his imprint, and suddenly we do not need any accuracy in his build because his only debuff cannot be resisted. So some of the awakenings are really important in terms of helping you completely change the way you would build. For the second one here, I gained some initiative. And initiative is a stat that gives me my ultimate ability faster. If you think about speed fills your turn meter faster, initiative fills your divinity faster. Okay, so that's the stat that I would need. So this is quite a nice one. So we're going to grab his imprint as well. And we're now going to have an Awaken 2 Shamash, which is pretty sweet. So we know that all of his hits, they scale from attack. We've also got a barrier going off here. And he's got Aether Burn, but I don't need accuracy now to land. I did before, I don't anymore. So when I'm thinking of gearing him, I'm really trying to do a number of things. Now, for Shamash, I know that his ultimate is really strong. Okay, and we need initiative to get the ultimate to proc more often. So I would like some initiative on him. I would like him to be reasonably speed. I'd like him to be able to stay alive. He's not really my damage dealer, although he does damage. Okay, so for me, it's more about finding gear with initiative, some speed, and defensive stats. When I'm looking at a damage dealer, let's take a Zeus. Zeus is like a crazy damage dealer, honestly. It's one of the better ones in the game. When I'm gearing, I'm trying to get more crit rate, crit damage, attack, and speed, although my speed's actually pretty damn low. And yeah, they're the stats that I'm looking for. So depends on the type of hero that you've got in terms of how you gear them. If I look at a Drac here, so Drac actually gains damage from HP and attack. And he also gains healing from HP. So when I was building my Drac, I wanted to make sure that I had a good balance of HP attack. I wanted more crit rate, but I didn't really get it. But then I've pushed him fast. Okay, so depends on the type of hero in terms of how you build them out. Now, if we talk about gear, so let's gear out my Shamash. There's two things that you need to be aware of with gear. First one is the color. The color is its rarity, and the rarity tell you how many substats you're going to get. So if it's legendary, I'm always going to have 4 substats. If it's epic, I will always have 3. Rare, I will always have 2. You've got the idea. Okay, so that's important. I guess there's 3 things you should be aware of. The second thing is the Roman numeral in the top right, and that is the quality of the piece of gear. So a 4 quality is actually flawless. So it goes up to 5. 5 will give me the best possible chance of rolling good substats. Okay, so if I look at a level 1, which I have rolled up because it was one of my early pieces, I got 30% crit rate from it, and you can see my substat rolls are all low. Okay, whereas if I find, do I have a crit rate one here at a higher number? Let's have a look. Maybe not. I don't. But anyway, my main stat will roll a higher number, and my substats have got a higher chance of rolling high. Okay, so the number in the top right is actually really important. It might be that you decide to take on a rare piece with a higher number versus a legendary piece with a lower number, because overall you'll get more stats for your hero. So that's the balance you've got to make. The other thing in play is the set. And I think as I'm pushing through the caverns, early levels, it's kind of like stats over sets, really. Try and make sure you get your stats in. But later, you want to start to get some of these sets to work. Okay, so you've got sets like the soul set here. Increases my ultimate ability damage by 15%. So someone like a Zeus, who does a lot of damage from his ult, that would be really nice. Someone who, like Shamash, who I'm not really looking to do damage, it would probably be less important. But some of the sets have got 6 pieces, so I could get 4 pieces here and say, increase my divinity by 10% after an ult. So I'm basically refilling my ult a lot quicker. And then 6 pieces reduces ultimate ability divinity cost by 15%, which is massive, by the way. Like, basically get to your ults a lot faster. So this whole set is about trying to get more ults away. We've got 2-piece sets as well, like the defender set here. So it doesn't have any more benefits other than the defender set. You can have 3 defender sets on and get 15% defense 3 times. Same with speed sets, the Falcon set. So again, you can get more speed if you have multiple Falcon sets, which you might use on someone like an Aphrodite, where you're just trying to go as fast as you can and work through your abilities. So they're the 3 main things to consider with gear. And the way we do gearing currently is to say, let's find a piece I actually care about here that I want to roll up. So let's say with Shamash, I want to get a big push on initiative. So a masterwork is the highest roll. The other stats here are kind of like whatever, but what else have I got? Heal 15%, not really after that. I might use that piece though just for, I don't know, maybe this one. So we've got some speed here. I'm still a 4 flawless, which means I'm going to get a good main stat. I'm going to get some good speed. So I can go into enhance and I can take it up using the slider here. Obviously level 16, it's going to give me more. Every 4 levels, you'll gain some substat rolls. So you can see pretty early on if you feel like there's going to be substats that you really want rolling high. And you can see here, each interval of 4, it basically would re-roll my substats up. So I can see that I'm getting a lot of speed out of this piece. I'm getting a lot of attack. I'm not getting a lot of defense percent. So if defense percent was what I was after as the secondary stats, I might not roll anymore after level 8 on this one. Because I'd be like, looks like most of my substats are going into these 2. I don't really care about this attack that much. I really care about the speed. Okay, so, but for this one, the speed is rolling high enough that I do care. Actually didn't get any additional speed there. The defense is catching up. And then we take it up to max and see where we ended up. And I got some nice early rolls. It didn't roll brilliantly at the end, but it was kind of okay. So I could equip that piece, and that's going to give me some nice stat boost. And again, you just kind of like go through either looking for the sets that you want if you're really pushing for sets at the end, or if you're looking for substats and a main stat, then obviously you do it just based on what you're seeing. You'll find there's a number of different main stats that you can roll on each piece of gear, and there's a number of substats that are available. So you can really, like, I guess, min-max your gear potential quite effectively over the course of a full build. And you can then, from this screen, also equip the weapon that you want to equip. So, you know, you can go down and find the one that's going to be best for you, whether it's one that will, give you more damage as you join with ally attacks, or it might be one like this, Mjolnir, which is going to give me my first ult faster. After I've got my first ult, though, it's not doing anything. Whereas some other abilities on weapons consistently do things. So really what you want, Mjolnir is a really great PvP type of weapon. So it's like, how do I get to my ult as quick as possible? It's not really great for like a long combat, like a boss. So this is really good for wave clearing and getting those ults super quick, but it's not great for a long drawn out boss battle. So again, you need to work out in your building which of those things you want to do to give yourself the best bang for your buck. So that's kind of the main things around building out heroes. On each of the different heroes, you'll see these different icons which you can click on. One tells you their archetype. You've got Brawler, which is kind of like a HP bruiser type of hero that should be able to take some damage, but also dish out some damage. You've got a Slayer, who will just basically is just out there to output as much damage as possible. You've got an Invoker, who's kind of like a support type of hero that might heal you, shield you, give you more turns, that type of thing. We've got a Defender, who is basically a tank, so they should give you defensive based buffs and protect your team. And we've also got a Disruptor. So a Disruptor generally will use like crowd control and debuffs on the enemy to basically allow you to win the fight. So 5 different types of archetypes. We've also got the affinity of our heroes, which is on this kind of like affinity wheel. So we've got the eternal heroes, who are basically neutral to all of the different affinities. And then we've got our strength hero, our wisdom, and our cunning heroes. And you can see the way the wheel works. Every hero's got order or chaos, which is really more towards the main game rather than right now, but might help you with some of the different challenges in the caverns. And then we've got the faction for all of the heroes as well. One of the other things actually on this screen that you should really be aware of is the ability to unbind heroes. So if you've put a lot of levels into someone and you don't want to use them anymore, you could unbind them and get a big chunk of their experience back, as well as a spirit. Or if you've just got like an overflow of heroes that you don't need. So I've actually maxed out my hero space when I did my last farm. So I can literally just burn through any of these rares and give myself a ton of spirits and some experience. Just be aware, doing it like this, I'm losing the opportunity to have their imprint for a weapon. So if you've got particular rares where you want some of their imprints in play, then hold some back and convert them to imprints instead of just straight turning them into spirits. So I'm going to do that. So give me a bunch of space. So it's going to give me some experience I can spend as well as some spirits. And it will free up some room in my inventory as well, because for alpha, we've only got 150 space. So let's get into just a little bit of the caverns in terms of battle here. So every stage has got 2 challenges. One is just, can you beat the stage? And you will get the first reward. So for this one, it's a random piece of gear. And then there's always a challenge for every stage where you can get the 2-star reward. So defeat the stage while placing at least 20 buffs on allies will give me that reward. And a lot of the rewards as you go up, they can be quite meaningful in terms of being able to progress faster or better. I actually found myself just wanting to push the levels, and then I felt like I'm going to come back and get some of the rewards that I want down the line. For Alpha Wave 3, we're trying to activate a multiplier for your damage against Fafnir for the final competition. So on stage 151, it's like an endless boss until he kills you. At the moment, he's not killing everyone, so we need to fix that, but he will for the final stage. And you'll get a multiplier of your damage based on the number of stars that you completed, provided we could get it active, and that's something we're trying to do right now. So yeah, 2 stars will actually give you your bonus damage for the competition as well for wave 3. So if we're going into an enemy wave like this, you pretty much want to be building your teams to have a decent amount of balance to them, I would say, and you can use different heroes with different auras. So Aphrodite here's got speed, we've got HP, we've got crit damage, we've got attack. Early on, attack probably is your best bet just to try and nuke stuff, but you want to be more tactical as you get further on. Resistance in this game, in GODFORGE, will reduce the chance of you taking debuffs and crowd control, and it will also reduce the amount of damage you take from critical hits. So resistance is actually a good stat here. I don't seem to have much in the way. Do I have anyone with like an accuracy aura. Got an initiative aura here, which will boost my ults more quickly. I don't think I do, actually. Yeah, so for my lineup for wave killing, again, I would probably just bring in someone, big AoE hitters like a Pangu. If you've got crowd control, that can really help, like a Green Knight, or someone like a Mordred, or even a lot of people using Skadi to get themselves through waves. We want to obviously bring some form of doing damage. So YDG is a big damage dealer. Drak is, Zeus is, even Beowulf is actually probably someone who's going to be like pushing your team in terms of turn meter and stuff, and then someone who's going to be keeping you alive. So my Horus is keeping me alive. I should actually just gear Shamash and help him keep me alive as well. Okay, so I don't really have the ability to really push sets here with my gearing right now, but I've pushed for a decent amount of speed and initiative, and then I've also pushed for reasonable kind of like defensive capabilities and basically staying alive. So Shamash is able to revive people. I don't want him to be dead. And you can see I've kind of gone for initiative on a pair of boots, speed on another. I did take some crit rate gloves, which might just be a mistake. I've got defense percent here, some base defense here, but with good other substats, and then initiative here as well. So again, my first time building out a Shamash, so who knows if that's the right route, but that's what felt good to me. So with someone like an Aphrodite, you can just hold down your left click on someone and find out what their abilities are doing on any of their abilities. So I'm going to just cast her ability here on my Zeus to help him team up, sorry. So we're going to go after Ramses, take him down with the Zeus smack. My Shamash here, I can come in and get another ally attack away. So I'm going to do that against the tankiest dude. Let him take a rest. And then Zeus is absolute beast. So we're just going to smack stuff up with Zeus. See, it's either like hit or I guess kill or be killed at the highest stages here. It's really the difficulty ramps up quite a lot when we get up to stage 130 plus. What I'm doing, you can see I've got ultimate abilities. These dudes are on fire. It means that ultimates are ready to go. I'm saving them now until the next wave. So I'm not wasting my abilities. I'm saving them because I'm basically done here. And then when I get into the next wave, I'm going to unleash a couple of ults. So we can unleash Pangu's ult. Let him go fierce at them and do a bunch of work. I'm going to unleash Zeus's ult as well. Pop. Smack them. I'm also going to do Aphrodite's ult. Not that I need to right now, but she boosts divinity for others. And I want that divinity up for the next wave. So we're going to start refilling ultimates nice and early here. And we can clear through this wave. Again, just using my basic abilities now. So that I'm ready for wave 3. And then on wave 3, again, I can ult out of turn. So you see it's not Shamash's turn. I can use his ult and get that lovely radiance up. I can also get the barriers going. And I can keep things moving here. But I should be pretty good now to be able to take these guys down. It's my ally attack coming in. And I think I can go auto. So again, manualing a set of abilities can really help you to get through some of the bigger threats. And get a lot of the damage done. And kind of work your way through the different stages of the cavern. We'll then get our rewards come through. You can click and see what the rewards are. That's actually kind of a nice pair of gloves. But I can't sell them from this screen yet. That will come in future releases of the game. One other thing just to show you before the end here is in a pre-battle screen, I can long click on any of my heroes and just see if they're built, see how they're geared, see if they help me with any of the challenges. So I can see here, defeat this team with only Izumo or Tian heroes. I can just literally go, show me my team by faction and look for Izumo or Tian. So let me think here. So this dude's a Tian hero, which means that So is he, because they go in faction order. So I can use my Pangu, for example, if I'm trying to get this done. And I can just like filter down. So hopefully that's helpful. But in that same screen, you can see, have you got a weapon equipped? Does that weapon have an imprint on it? All of those things are going to be valuable to you in that screen. So look, I think that's going to do it for this video. Hope you're enjoying the alpha experience. Make sure you invite your friends to come and get involved for Alpha 3. You can still sign up and get involved right now. It'd be really great to have as many people testing it out and enjoying it as possible. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.